Number 15. Your blood starts boiling. Picture this. You step outside your spaceship without a helmet because you just want to feel the breeze. Fun fact, there is no breeze. What there is, however, is a complete lack of atmospheric pressure. On Earth, our air pressure is like an invisible hand gently keeping your bodily fluids where they belong. In space, that hand just lets go. And without pressure, water boils at a much lower temperature. Guess what's mostly water? You. No, you won't burst like a balloon in a cartoon. Your skin is actually pretty good at keeping your insides in. But your saliva starts fizzing, your eyes feel like someone poured soda into them, and the moisture in your skin cells starts to bubble. You're basically turning into a slow brew cup of human tea. To make it worse, the gas bubbles forming in your bloodstream can mess with your circulation. That's not "I feel dizzy" bad, that's my brain isn't getting blood bad. And before you think, well, I'll just hold my breath, don't. The air in your lungs will expand without pressure, rupturing lung tissue. That's like trying to inflate a balloon inside another balloon, and both are you. Survival time? Maybe 15 seconds before unconsciousness. You'll have about the same amount of warning as when you accidentally open your phone camera in selfie mode. Number 14. Death by space suit freezer burn. Everyone pictures space as burning hot because of the sun, but in the shadows, it's the universe's biggest walk-in freezer. If you're on the dark side of a planet or just floating far from a star, your body will start radiating heat away into the vacuum. No air means no convection, so you're losing heat purely through radiation, like a sad Thanksgiving turkey sitting in an unplugged oven. Your core temperature starts to drop. First, your fingers and toes feel like you've been building a snowman without gloves for hours. Then your muscles stiffen, because your body is busy deciding which parts of you are worth keeping warm. Spoiler, your limbs don't make the cut. In minutes you'd be hypothermic, but here's the fun part. Freezing in space isn't instant, because there's nothing to conduct the heat away quickly. Instead, it's this weird drawn-out chill where your brain is still working just long enough for you to realize you are dying at the same speed your Wi-Fi dies during a thunderstorm. If you're in a damaged spacesuit, you could also get both extremes, burning hot on the sunlit side and freezing on the shadow side. Congratulations, you're a human hot pocket, crispy on the outside, ice cold in the middle. Number 13. Solar radiation overload. You know how the sun gives you a tan on Earth? Yeah, that's because our atmosphere filters out most of the nasty UV and ionizing radiation. In space, there's no atmospheric bouncer stopping the dangerous stuff from getting in. So instead of a nice golden tan, you're basically microwaving yourself from the inside out. Solar flares, bursts of energy from the sun, can release enough radiation to fry electronics, which is bad news for satellites and worse news for your DNA. If you happen to be floating out there during a major solar storm without proper shielding, you'd be hit with a radiation dose equivalent to thousands of chest X-rays, all at once. That's less summer beach trip, and more medical experiment gone wrong. And this isn't the slow years of sun damage type of cancer risk, this is your cells stop dividing properly almost immediately. Your nervous system, digestive tract, and bone marrow are especially sensitive. In high enough doses, you'd start vomiting, bleeding internally, and hallucinating before slipping into a coma. Think of it like being in a tanning bed that someone forgot to turn off. And also someone replaced the UV bulbs with tiny gamma-ray death lasers. Number 12. Death by space debris shrapnel. Space looks empty, but it's basically an orbital junkyard. Old satellites, broken rocket parts, and little metal shards are all zipping around at ridiculous speeds, up to 17,500 miles per hour. That's Mach 25. At that speed, even a flake of paint can hit like a bullet. And there's no duck and cover, because you won't even see it coming. Imagine you're floating peacefully, maybe humming to yourself in your spacesuit, when, wham, a bolt the size of a pea punches through your helmet. In the blink of an eye, your oxygen rushes out, your visor cracks, and your face is suddenly making direct friends with the vacuum of space. And if you're unlucky enough to be inside a spacecraft during a collision, congratulations. You're now surrounded by hundreds of tiny shrapnel bits ricocheting around in zero gravity. This is called the Kessler syndrome, where one collision creates debris that causes more collisions, snowballing until low Earth orbit looks like a glitter explosion of death. In other words, the universe's most expensive game of dodgeball, except every ball is metal, every hit is lethal, and you can't actually dodge. Number 11. Instant decompression implosion. If your spacecraft suddenly depressurizes, it's not the kind of problem duct tape and positive thinking can fix. The pressure inside your body, in your lungs, sinuses, ears, and even between your cells, is balanced against the cabin's air pressure. When that outside pressure disappears, the balance breaks instantly. Your lungs? They'll force the air out so violently it's like the world's worst asthma attack. Your eardrums? They're done for unless you equalize fast enough, which, spoiler alert, you won't. The gas bubbles in your blood will expand, your tissues will swell, and you'll pass out within seconds from hypoxia. And here's the kicker, it's not just that you can't breathe, your blood can't carry oxygen properly anymore. You could be staring right at an oxygen tank and it wouldn't matter. Your cardiovascular system just rage quit. Think of it like popping a soda can in slow motion. Except you're the soda, and the can was your only thing keeping you intact. Number 10. The Cosmic Blender, Spaghettification. Let's say you get a little too curious and wander near a black hole. First, the view would be stunning. Swirling gas clouds, light bending around the event horizon, the kind of thing you'd want as a desktop wallpaper. But cross that invisible line, and gravity turns into a nightmare chef. Black holes have insane gravitational gradients, meaning the pull on your feet could be millions of times stronger than the pull on your head. This difference stretches you into a long, thin shape, a process scientists call spaghettification. Your body doesn't just stretch, it rips apart molecule by molecule. Blood, bone, brain, all neatly lined up in a noodle that even an Italian grandmother wouldn't cook. From your perspective, time would also slow down as you approach the event horizon. To an outside observer, you'd appear to freeze in place and fade out. To you, though, it's a one-way trip into being cosmically pureed. In short, a black hole is the universe's most powerful pasta maker, and you're the dough. Number 9. Gamma-ray Burst BBQ. If the universe had sniper rifles, gamma-ray bursts would be the bullets. These are insane blasts of energy from collapsing stars or neutron star collisions, and they can release more power in a few seconds than our sun will in its entire lifetime. Luckily, they're rare and usually far, far away. Unluckily, far in cosmic terms still means you'd be vaporized if you were in the wrong spot. If one of these bursts hit Earth directly, the radiation would strip away our atmosphere's protective ozone like peeling cling film off leftovers. Suddenly, every living thing is exposed to intense ultraviolet light, cosmic rays, and general death vibes. In space, with zero shielding, you'd have milliseconds before your cells start to break apart. Literally, the radiation would damage DNA faster than your body could repair it. Oh, and they're directional. If you're in the beam, congratulations, you're on the universe's very short guest list for instant obliteration. It's like someone pointing a flashlight at you, except the flashlight is made of death and the batteries are a dying star. Number 8. Magnetic Field Meltdown. You probably don't think much about Earth's magnetic field, unless you're a compass, but it's basically our invisible force field against charged solar particles. Take it away, and those particles would slam into the atmosphere and surface without mercy. In space, beyond that shield, you get the full blast. We're talking radiation storms that could fry your nervous system. Your heartbeat might get irregular, your brain signals could glitch, and your muscles would spasm uncontrollably. High doses could literally stop your heart. That's right, the same sun you draw as a happy yellow circle in kindergarten could electrically short-circuit your life. And if you're near something like Jupiter, the magnetic fields can be even more terrifying. Jupiter's magnetosphere is so strong it could fry electronics from millions of miles away. Spend too long in it without protection, and your nervous system is the electronics. Think of it as being inside a giant invisible MRI machine that's running forever, and the tech forgot to turn down the settings from Cook. Number 7. The Micro-Meteorite Facepunch. If space debris is the big scary stuff you can at least see, micrometeorites are the invisible assassins. These are tiny rocks or dust grains moving at orbital speeds. Even something smaller than a grain of sand can hit with the force of a rifle bullet because, again, space doesn't believe in speed limits. Your space suit? Designed for a lot, but not for a microscopic bullet traveling faster than a fighter jet. If one of these bad boys punches through your visor, you're done. If it hits your oxygen tank, you're still done, just with a slightly different flavor of death. The worst part? You wouldn't even see it coming. There's no sound in space, no whiz or crack to warn you. 1 second you're floating, the next you've got a hole where part of your helmet used to be, and your brain is getting a crash course in what vacuum feels like. It's like being attacked by an invisible bee, except the bee is traveling at 15 miles per second and doesn't care about your survival. Number 6. Space Sickness Spiral. You know that dizzy, stomach-churning feeling you get after spinning around too fast? Now imagine your brain feeling like that, forever. In space, your inner ear, the part that tells you which way is up, completely loses its reference point. Your eyes send one set of data, I'm floating in a weird tin can. Your inner ear sends another, I'm falling forever. And your brain just throws up its metaphorical hands and says, cool, let's vomit about it. This space adaptation syndrome isn't just uncomfortable. In extreme cases, you can become so disoriented that you can't perform basic tasks. Imagine trying to pilot a spacecraft while your brain thinks you're on the world's worst roller coaster. Even astronauts who train for years still get hit with it, and in the wrong moment, say during an emergency, it can be lethal.
Worst part?
In microgravity, vomit doesn't fall.
It floats.
So now you've got little blobs of puke drifting around with you like some disgusting planetary system. If one of those gets back into your mouth or nose, yeah. Death by choking on your own lunch is now on the table. Number 5. Brain bubbles, the decompression stroke. Space is full of pressure changes, especially if you're moving between different cabins, shuttles, or spacewalks. If you ascend or descend too quickly, similar to a scuba diver, nitrogen gas in your blood can form bubbles. On Earth, that's called the bends, and it's painful.
In space? It's worse.
Those bubbles can travel to your brain, blocking blood flow and causing a stroke. We're talking sudden confusion, paralysis, seizures, the works. And in zero gravity, even a small loss of coordination is catastrophic. You can't just sit and wait it out when you're floating in the middle of a spaceship, slowly losing the ability to control your own limbs. It's like your bloodstream decided to start making champagne inside your brain. Which sounds fancy, until you realize the cork it's popping is you. Number 4. Getting lost in the forever. One of the most terrifying ways to die in space is also one of the simplest. You just float away. If your tether snaps during a spacewalk and you don't have a jetpack unit, yes, they're real, momentum will carry you endlessly into the void. No air resistance means you'll keep drifting, slowly watching your ship get smaller until it's gone. The psychological horror alone would be overwhelming. At first, you'd probably shout into the comms for help. Then you'd realize no one's coming. After that, it's just you, your breath, and the sound of your own heartbeat while the stars stay exactly the same distance away. Eventually, you'd run out of oxygen, lose consciousness and freeze, your body becoming another piece of space debris, endlessly orbiting nothing in particular. Basically, you'd be the loneliest object in the universe, forever. Number 3. The atmosphere entry cremation. Let's flip the script and say you do make it back toward a planet, but without a proper heat shield. As you enter the atmosphere at orbital speeds, friction with the air turns into insane heat. We're talking over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than lava. Your ship, or your body if you're unlucky enough to be falling solo, would start to glow, then disintegrate in a streak of fire. To anyone watching from the ground, you'd just be a shooting star.
Romantic, right?
Except the star is literally you burning into ash in under a minute. It's basically the world's fastest cremation service. No coffin required. Number 2. Star Eater, the neutron star crush. Neutron stars are the leftover cores of massive supernova explosions, and they are ridiculously dense. A teaspoon of neutron star material weighs about 1 billion tons. Get too close, and the gravity would pull you in with unimaginable force. Unlike a black hole, you wouldn't have spaghettification, you'd just be crushed instantly. Your atoms themselves wouldn't survive. The pressure is so extreme it forces electrons into protons, creating neutrons. You wouldn't just die, you'd stop being a person and start being part of the star's lunch. Think of it as being pressed into the world's flattest pancake, except the pancake is made of pure nuclear matter. Number 1. The Big Nothing, Vacuum Exposure Finale. We started with your blood boiling, but let's close the loop. Being fully exposed to the vacuum of space without any protection is the ultimate instant death sentence. Your lungs collapse, your fluids boil, your eyes swell, you pass out in seconds, and your body slowly freezes solid.
You wouldn't explode.
You wouldn't scream. Sound can't travel in space. You just drift silently, becoming an eerie human-shaped ice sculpture. Eventually, you might tumble into a planet's atmosphere and burn up, or you could just stay there forever, a reminder to anyone passing by that space doesn't play around. It's not dramatic, it's not cinematic, it's just the cold, absolute quiet of the universe doing what it does best, not caring that you existed.